Here are three wide receivers who will bust in 2025 fantasy football. We're starting out with Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, last year we were drafting him in the second round of NFL drafts. He only ended up with 885 yards, and as that goes, that was a major disappointment. Now, this year's ADP is much more reasonable, wide receiver 18, but I still have significant concerns. First of all, this offense runs through Trey McBride. Beginning in week 5 of 2024, the Cardinals went to a 2 tight end offense, and it really became uber focused on McBride, who led the team with 143 targets to only 116 for Harrison. The other problem was the misuse of Harrison. I believe Harrison can be a star in this league, but in this current coaching situation, very problematic. Here's why. Last year, we call them go routes. These are these straight routes down the sideline of the field. They're long downfield passing routes, the lowest percentage passes in the NFL. Harrison ran those 25% of the time. And the other problem, Kyler Murray, one of the least efficient downfield passers in the NFL. This was not a good pairing. Harrison was only using the slot 26% of the time. They get him into space, very small amount. That should have been up in the mid-30s. And the problem further was this team had a late bye week in 2024, and the coaching staff made no tangible effort to change their usage of Harrison. So that gives me no confidence that with an offseason that they were going to do things much differently than they did in 2024. That said, Harrison is a good player, but at ADP, you need him to build on last year. And right now, very hard to see that. And at the end of the season, fantasy playoffs, we know Kyler Murray has really struggled in the second half of seasons. So if you're betting on Harrison Jr., you're betting on Kyler Murray breaking that long-standing trend and actually being strong when it counts most. Next, we have Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens, another very talented receiver. Hey, he put up 1,059 yards on 74 catches last year. So what's not to like? His ADP is going right around wide receiver 28, so it seems like a really nice value. Here's the problem. Last year, it started great for Flowers. In the first 9 games, 5 times, he had at least 18.5 PPR points, and those who rostered Flowers were loving life. Well, here's the thing. After that, the Ravens established their identity for the rest of the season. Lamar Jackson moved to shotgun. Derrick Henry right on his hip. This became a run-dominant team. So remember I said those 5 times in 9 games and Flowers had 18.5 PPR points? Well, once week 10 hit, Flowers hit 12 PPR points one time because there just was not enough to go around. When that running game was thriving, Lamar Jackson was throwing downfield because the defense played closer to the line. That meant Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, who were the downfield receivers. Flowers doesn't fit that profile. Despite an 85th percentile yards after the catch, it doesn't matter a lot if you are not getting the targets. That's going to be the problem with Flowers this year, very unfortunately. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. It helps RotoWire keep that fantasy advice coming your way. And if you even want more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to RotoWire.com, pick out that subscription, and use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, next, Courtland Sutton, Denver Broncos, coming off an outstanding season. It was a thing of beauty. He was consistent for many, many, many weeks. Till the very end of the season, he slowed down a bit, and that's where the problem starts. Courtland Sutton was the only game in town for Bo Nix most of the year. And in the last 5 or 6 weeks, Marvin Mims started to become a little bit involved, which took away from Sutton's upside. But the bigger problem is this year. The Broncos were a very good defense last year. Well, they brought in linebacker Dre Greenlaw, safety Talanoa Hufanga, first-round draft pick cornerback Jahdae Barron. This defense that is very good may be elite. That means they could play with a lot of leads. Other problem, the running game in Denver, not good last year. Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, Audrey Estime, it was terrible. Well, this year, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins behind a great offensive line. This team has told us their blueprint. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense. They want to throw situationally. And then you bring in Evan Ingram at tight end. So all of a sudden, Sutton, who was leading the team with targets, now all of a sudden Mims is a factor, Ingram's a factor, and ultimately Courtland Sutton is going to struggle to see anything close to the touchdown opportunities, the reception, and the yardage. So this is a player, unfortunately, at age 29, who is going to bust in 2025 fantasy football.